All right, welcome everybody. It's AT Town Hall Special Event Day. You can tell because there's tons of people that show up. I'm gonna ruin the term special event by just continuing to say special event. So good on you for coming. Today we have the QIAT Leadership Team with us, members of the team, which is very exciting. And I'm going to turn it over to them to guide us through our time together. Welcome.
Well, hey, welcome everybody. We didn't really talk about who was going to start, so go ahead, Joan.
Well, good to be voluntold. I'm Joan Breslin. I live and work in Minnesota. Currently, I'm in Florida, driving across the state, doing a long road trip that'll lead to ATIA. So hopefully get to see lots of you there. So today we want to introduce you to a new activity we're doing from QIAT. That is a QIAT book study. So we'll get into a little bit more about that. But do the other QIAT leadership team members want to introduce themselves?
Well, hi, I'm Kelly Fauner. I've been here at AT Town Hall a couple of times. We really welcome you, and we're excited about this new venture into talking about and discussing the QIAT indicators. And I'll turn it to Matt.
Hi everybody, I'm Matt Newton. I'm here in Virginia. I'm not sure what my NFL team's name is. It changes all the time. Here as we were kicking that off, but I'm newly minted to QIAT Leadership and to the AT Town Hall as well. So looking forward to getting to know all of you better.
One of the first things we wanted to do, everybody, was just to have you tell us about how you first found out about QIAT and the QIAT indicators. It's always an interesting discussion.
Okay, I'll pop in. So when I was still an SLP for one of our ISDs, Mike Murata was actually going around the state of Michigan. And during one of the, it was the AT Journey Symposium. It's had lots of names since then, but we had different teams come together and really look at the QIAT indicators. I don't remember which branch of QIAT indicators we were looking at, but one of them. And really before that, as an SLP, I hadn't really looked at them. We hadn't really looked at them as a team, but it started our conversations within our district from then on.
I'm Judy Schoonover. I was a member of the assistive technology team in Loudoun County, Virginia. And Joy Zabala actually did training for our team when we started in the early 2000s. And she introduced us to the QIAT leadership and the QIAT indicators. And we actually used them at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year when our team was first forming. We actually wrote a team mission statement. And then every year we would evaluate how we had done, when we would pick three kind of indicators that we were really going to primarily work on. And it was very effective. And it really made us as a team be very cohesive and very in tune to things that we needed to work on and improve. We were all speaking the same language because we were all using the same kind of measurement to see how we were doing. Now I'm going to be quiet, Mike.
We have another member of the QIAT leadership team that's joined us. Penny, do you want to introduce yourself to people?
Sure. Hi, I'm Penny Reed. Well, I'm semi-retired and I still do a little work, mostly with quality. I was director of the Wisconsin Assistive Technology Initiative for many years and involved with those materials and procedures.
I was part of I found out about the book through my college class. Brian Wojcik was our person for the assistive technology specialist degree through UNK. And so that was part of our study, was to go through the book. So.
I saw Heather dropped in the chat that she found QIAT through research. And I know that was the way I originally stumbled upon the book as well, as an early AT practitioner, or early in my career anyway, looking for resources and tools and evidence-based practices and all of the buzzwords and terms that you can think about. And they kept popping up, and taking a look at that and how it was organized. And that I think I still have the dog-eared copy of the blue book on my shelf, like the original one, with many more copies to share with others now around it. But a historical piece.
This is Joan. I think I'm going to bet that I have one of the oldest relationships with the whole quality indicators activities. I first found out about it in 1998 or 99 when I was a brand new AT state specialist, and I went to a Closing the Gap pre-conference presented by Joy Zabala on the SET framework, and over lunch she and I talked, and she told me that they were starting to develop this set up at one point called competencies, and that evolved into indicators. And one of the most wonderful things I've been able to do is attend QIAT summits that were held in the summers that actually led to writing the indicators, the intent statements, and development of the matrices. So it's been really, really fun, and a big part of my work to be that involved with the indicators. And then, of course, we've used them in Minnesota, where I was at the state agency, to help teams do much as Judy described in determining their need areas, developing an implementation plan, and evaluating the effectiveness of that. So it's been a really good journey to be part of and to share with others.
So mine doesn't go that far back, but so we in the state of Florida have to do something called the BPI, which is the Best Practices in Inclusive Education. And long before the BPI was a state requirement, we were doing it in Alachua County because the first developer of it was a professor at UF, Diane Rendak. And as a part of the BPI, one of the indicators talks about assistive technology. And I am someone who is, anybody who knows me, don't laugh, very hard on myself and critical about the work that we do. And I needed something non-judgmental to help judge where we really were in terms of assistive technology. And long before then, I had been on the QIAT listserv. And so I kind of fell back to those indicators to help me present evidence about where we were on the BPI for assistive technology. And now I'm using them in a lot of different ways.
Exit 356 to merge onto I-295 north toward Savannah.
Oh, now we know where Joan is.
Now I know exactly where Joan is, because I
Sorry about that.
I like that term, non-judgmental.
because I needed something that would take it out of, well, what do I think about how this is going, and really kind of put it in a number sense, because otherwise I would be like a 1 or a 2, which is really low on the BPI. I'd be like, we do this horribly. And it kind of helped kind of form a better consensus. And then every year I try to look at it and think, okay, where are the knowing that I can't bite off all of those in one year. Okay, what could I focus on for this next year to help make things better or different? And I'm also using them to help guide the person that I'm mentoring for the Joy Zabala Fellowship. We're kind of walking through that book, doing I'm going to say a book study, but a little bit different probably than what you guys are doing. And Mia, you're throwing me off because you have the wrong name on your Zoom, and I keep looking at you and I'm like, there are 2 Amy Tirados right next to each other.
I was going to message Mia, but I didn't want to message Amy by mistake. And I was going to say, Mia, identity theft is not a joke.
We're just messing with y'all.
Alyssa, I have the same idea when I think about the indicators and how they get used. And I don't know how many times in sessions with team members, they'll say, can I rate myself a 0? And that's that very judgment moment of it. And I always laugh and say, well, no, you're not a 0. And then it's nice because then we can go through some of the other indicators and identify an area that they are doing really well. And then that gives them that balance of, okay, we may not be doing everything all the time as a 5, but we're certainly not a 0. And I think that's helpful for that. But I think everybody has a tendency to be incredibly judgmental on themselves, not just you.
happy to use it with teams because it gives them the next step. You find where you're at and where can you go realistically next. Not we're doing this horribly, now we're going to be, the gold standard for AT provision in schools, but it gives you achievable steps to be able to go to along the way.
Yeah, it's true, Matt.
I just think it helps you have a big picture too, because it's real easy as an individual or a team to get problems in a certain classroom. And I think this helps you step back and look at, oh, well, there's this aspect and this aspect and this aspect, and maybe we could work on that for now and, not beat ourselves up about the one thing that isn't going well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Penny, it always goes back to I tell people when I talk to them about this, that my favorite word is consistently, that is in those indicators. That's my favorite word I can pick out of there. Because it really helps teams recognize that, oh, we might be doing this, whatever this is, really well in one spot, but are we doing it somewhere else? Or someone might be doing this, but is everyone doing this? And I love that idea of there are gradients of how we're doing this a bit. And I think reminding everybody that our goal, kind of going back to what Matt was saying, our goal is to work towards being consistent in how we do that. I would even argue our goal is not always to be a 5. It would be nice to be a 5. Sure, that'd be great. Our goal, I would even take with most teams, a consistent 3, where it's consistent across the boards instead of this kind of I'm a 5, you're a 1, somebody thinks they're a 0, and then we got to work through all that. But finding ways to find movement for everybody, but do it in a way that everyone is moving together. Who's their hand up? So official. I just saw a hand up. Who is that? Well, it's either Mia or Amy. It's one of them. Go ahead, Mia.
I was just going to say that for those who don't know me, I am Mia and the other person is Amy. We just happen to work in the same office and we're right next to each other. And I used her link to get on today. So thank you all for your work on the QIAT. It's been great. And I love the QIAT listserv. I don't answer much, but I definitely stalk it a lot and have learned a lot through it. I get a little nervous to answer, but I want to say in this day and age where we are lucky to have anybody in the classroom or in the positions, and we're going through a very much a great, it's not the great resignation, it's the great retirement. I feel like we have a lot of these wonderful AT professionals that have like a lot of great knowledge and that they're retiring, right? We're like seeing this great retirement. We're losing so many and we don't have that same kind of knowledge base to like take the place and to come up, that the QIAT is such a great, it's such a great guide to be used because we are just, we're drowning like out here in the real world. These classrooms and these, AT teams and SLPs leaving everywhere. And it's so, it's like, how the term stop the bleeding, like we want to stop the bleeding, but for the people that are still here and want to do the work, it's a great roadmap. And we're so grateful to have something like that. And especially for, I feel like millennials and, anybody here that's a millennial or knows a millennial can stop me. But I think it seems like, this, necessary, like how do I do things? Where am I going? And I tend to fall into that a lot too, when there's something that I just don't know, but I think it really supports that. So really grateful that someone else did the work and that it still stands the test of time.
So one of the reasons that we asked Mike for the time here in Town Hall was to introduce to you what we're calling the QIAT Blue Book Study Group. So that clarifies which book it is. For those of you that have looked at the QIAT materials, there's several books and different books and of different colors, but we're going to start on that main book and put together a book study that's going to be starting at the beginning of February. So right after we're introducing it this week, I'm going to drop in, or Matthew or I will drop in a link so that you can get onto the Facebook group. Right now, this week, we're doing invite only. And so getting people up and started, and then we really go public next week at ATIA, where
I'll pick up from where Kelly froze, and by the time I get started talking, she'll unfreeze and finish my sentence for me. But we are going to look to introduce this. You guys are kind of getting the see, there she goes. We're looking to introduce and kind of give you all early access and knowledge about this by being willing to, spend your time coming to meetings like this. It's a kind of, treat that you definitely deserve with that. But it is going to have its grand opening at ATIA next week. For some of you, we hope you'll be able to see there. And then, as Kelly was saying, I believe the week of February 6th, we should really start rolling out the beginning of the program with the book study through the Facebook group. Did I get that right, Kelly?
You got it. Yes, I'm having difficulty since the latest update of Windows with my my video. So I'm dropping the link in the invite link. Again, we're doing this first through Facebook, as many of you have been running or a part of groups. And one of the things that we want to ask for people, because we've still, we've got a framework for what we're doing, but we really want to know, what's a good book study for you? What would make this a good book study?
Or even as you think to book studies you've been in the past, what made it good or what made it bad? We're not probing you for information, but maybe we are. Before we get started with this, how can we make it a good experience?
So I'll say I did a Facebook book study with Alyssa. And so she definitely has some experience with this. And so I really, really liked doing the book study that she did for Comprehensive Literacy for All. And some things I really liked about it was she made lots of graphics to go along with the different chapters and for like the different kind of skills that we were looking at. And so for me, like the visuals were really helpful. And then it also helped me take the information back to my teams, because I could say, like, we're talking about emergent writing, and this is like a really clear graphic of what it looks like. So kind of just giving some like supplements of like how to condense or summarize or understand and share the information, I thought was really helpful.
Thanks, Sarah. You made my Monday.
Visuals, they're good for everybody, right?
Yeah, and I think now having done, we're on round 4 of this book study on Facebook, almost done, near the end, the last couple chapters of round 4. I think you're going to find people that say, I'm not on Facebook. Is there still a way for me to participate? And we have had, I did make a video at one point, just like how to make up an account if you don't have a Facebook account, just for the sake of joining it. Some people still are like, nope, not doing it. So you will have some of that. And then I think from an organizational perspective, the Facebook groups allow you to use something called guides. And the way that we set up ours was each chapter was a guide. And under that, so every round I do this, all of them get filed under that same guide. So you can go back and see all 4 rounds in one set. And I'm happy to talk to whoever's organizing it and kind of talk through and show what I did at a different time. It's been a learning experience for sure.
It'd be great. And Facebook changes things all the time. So once you learn, then they move the button.
Yeah, and as Sarah was saying, they're really helpful if you know kind of where you want to go, or like we have a graphic that we made with Janet Sturm about, the developmental writing scale. And if you know it's in a certain chapter, you can go quickly to that guide to find the graphic that goes with it, if that makes sense.
Oh, great. Yeah, that'll be really helpful for all of the materials that we have because we also want to make people aware of what really is all at the website, because a lot of people, like as Mia talked about, know the list, and they know kind of the list and how that works, but they don't always know the resources that are also back at the website. Other things that make a good book study for people.
Okay, I'll go again. Another thing that I think this group is always very, very good at is making people feel comfortable asking questions. And, you know, like we talked about, like being non-judgmental, that I feel like this group is always very encouraging about whatever kind of level you're at. If it's something that you're super familiar with, or if this might be the first time going through the indicators, that I think just kind of the stuff that everybody always does to be welcoming and to kind of encourage, especially new people, to ask questions. That's something I've liked in book studies too.
Well, and to piggyback off of that one, I was in one recently and they asked 3 questions about the chapter, every chapter, and that allowed a lot of additional dialogue. And so there'd be, you know, question 1, question 2, question 3, kind of like we did with the AT chat. So you knew what the 3 questions were going to be ahead of time, and everyone kind of filtered them in. And based on if someone put a lot of questions or there was a lot of misconceptions about one of those 3 questions, that could be the topic of one of the conversations and the actual, you know, more video book study, that portion that they also did, which made it nice. And it made it to where people could come in and if they weren't going to miss something, also be able to pick in and drop a comment that they liked or disliked. Or there was always 3 questions. And for this, it'd be pretty, I think it'd be a good guide for people who have never really engaged with it.
Well, I think Tiffany and then Mary also put, you know, not making it totally academic. I don't think that any of us are looking that this is about teaching people the content, but that it is more about the discussion of it. And one of the nice things that is already a part of the Quiet Blue book is that there are questions at the end of every chapter. So I think you'll see we'll be kind of picking through those. And so if you have any of those that are your favorites, you know, let us know. In one way or another. You certainly can go to the website and email any of us. We've got the QIAT email at gmail.com so that we could know what kind of are your favorite questions there.
Cal, I think it's really important. I think for this book for sure. And as we think about how we're using this, it's the application of the information in the book and what that looks like as we go forward. And so my thought right away when I think of what makes a great book study for me is the idea of people sharing their personal stories and giving me examples of how they've done something, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what did they think would work and then crashed and burned, what did they not think would work and suddenly took off. All of that, I think this idea of how we approach using this in our real world situations, where in a lot of our schools and centers and organizations, we might be the only person who knows about this. And so we have to be a person that starts a movement and then gets people involved and then keeps them going. And so all of that could be really helpful.
I like the asynchronous and the synchronous both. I like the being able to have the conversations like this, but having the links and the ability to go back and either watch it again or find the links. So the Facebook group is nice for that because you'll have posts and ways for to continue to have conversation. So sometimes when you get into a book study, you hear something, but you don't think about it again until a month later or 2 months later when all of a sudden somebody says something, you're like, oh, wait a minute, there's research for that somewhere.
That's such a good point, Rebecca. That's when we talk about this and my own personal interaction with this. I don't like Facebook. I don't use Facebook. And so I think I'm going to lose 90% of this because I'm not going to think to go there. So I'm going to have to create this kind of new plan for myself to actually check in. And I'm going to have to put the app on my phone and all that other stuff. So it's going to be interesting. So that should be fun. Mia, go ahead, raise your hand. And I know you're not raising your hand just to agree with me. I know you had it up before that.
No, I just had a question about who do you guys.
Oh, Mia, I almost hear you talking right now.
Really? I don't know. My audio is really bad.
Do you guys hear Mia talking? I know Amy hears her talking because she's, oh, great. Now Amy has to give her name and her headset. I mean, when does it end, Amy?
I know.
Does it
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Kinda,
Okay.
yeah.
No, the question is, who is the intended audience for this book study?
Good
Well, I
question.
think that's one of the things we're trying to discover. We don't have a set audience that we're looking for people that are aware already of the indicators, as well as people that are new to it. And I think one of the things that Rebecca brought up, synchronous and asynchronous, one of the things that we've been discussing, because there's a couple of the state leaders that we've been talking to over the past couple of months as we've been developing this, that may be running side groups within the Facebook page. They might be having some live sessions as a part of their own state meetings. And we are planning to jump into Ed Camp. So anybody at ATIA, we're hoping to get right on the board at Ed Camp so that people could introduce themselves live and in person, as well as maybe having other opportunities as we go along in the book study. The plan of kind of course of it is to start in the first week of February, and then we're going to do 2 weeks on a chapter. And so it gives people who haven't read a chapter a chance to look through it. As those of you that have seen the book, I mean, it's not totally dense. It's a pretty quick read, and it's all laid out. All the chapters are laid out really similar once we get into the 8 indicators. But, we're hoping then that each of the indicators itself might start other types of discussions.
Mhm. Alyssa, jump in. You're being so polite with your hand up. Jump in.
I was trying to follow Mia's lead.
I know, Mia really setting the terms of how we participate.
So I had 2 different thoughts. One is, Mike, you do not have to have the app on your phone. You can access the Facebook website through the Chrome browser. I do not put the app on my phone intentionally because I don't want the notifications. I have it on iOS devices, but you don't have to. You can access it through the Chrome browser, just as an aside, because it is data heavy on a phone. And then the second that I thought I was going to, in terms of images, Kelly, whoever's doing it, A, I'm happy to help, but B, please make sure there's alt text for your images. It's a huge, and again, it doesn't take that long on Facebook. I can show you exactly how to add it. I have a document of every image I post that I have the image saved there and have the description, whatever my question is, and have the image description right there in a Google Doc, so I can go copy it and paste it if I need to again. And so, yeah, that's the other thing. So I make them in Canva, but then when I upload them, I save a little link to it in my Google Drive, which also helps because I've had other people, like Sarah said, who have wanted to do their own book studies that have said, hey, can I have those images? Absolutely. Please go do a book study. That's what I want, because Facebook doesn't work for everybody. And in that way, you can kind of get this trickle down effect in places that you may not reach with Facebook.
Can I jump in for just a minute? I can't raise my hand on my phone, so my apologies. One of the things that's important to know is this is a blue book study, but the majority of the resources we're going to be talking about are available on our website, QIAT.org. Or if you have the yellow book, don't feel like you have to rush out and buy the blue book. There are definitely resources and supports in the blue book that aren't available on the website, but the main meat, the indicators, the matrices, the indicator statements, all of those things are available at no cost. So it's not like we're trying to make you spend money. We're not trying to make money. We're trying to share knowledge and content. So just know that we'll support you in finding things on the QIAT site at no cost. And if you choose to buy the book, that's lovely.
Thanks, Joan. I appreciate everybody looking out for me on not putting Facebook on my phone. That's really touching. It's very nice. Murph making me an alias. I have a Facebook account. I just choose to ignore it. As most people who are friends with me on Facebook will realize, I don't think I've posted it. I just looked at my phone. I think it's 4 or 5 years. So
Pictures of your dog.
yeah, I don't even have pictures of my dog. You'd have to go to my wife's for that. Kelly mentioned in the chat that they're going to post up the videos when we're done. When the book study, as it moves through, they're going to link to videos that were done for other projects. One of those projects she mentions is the project I do in New Hampshire. And I will drop the link in there now because those videos already live up there anyway, just so that you can see them. Those are the links to all of the indicator areas, videos done by the members of the QIAT Leadership Team, and they are fantastic. And I'm not saying that because some of you are here. I'm just saying it because they are fantastic. Very good.
Probably the project that made sure that we were all doing things exactly the same. Therefore,
yeah, they have a similar look. And Alyssa's on there again about the idea of she's not even putting her hand up now. She's just dropping bombs in the chat at this point, reminding us about captions and those things. She didn't want to be that person, yet she chose to be.
I am. I'm trying to save you from all of the things that were a struggle in round one of our book study. And, I don't know how you'll end up numbers wise, but when there's one person as an admin or even 5, and you've got 5,000 people participating in a group, you learn very quickly the things that are going to kind of need to be present for people to participate well.
True.
Learn
I like your idea, Alyssa.
learn
Using
from my
Canva.
crazy.
I like your Canva idea for your images and stuff. I think that's cool. I do mine in a Google slide deck, and then I write my image descriptions in the notes below, and then I just download them one at a time as a picture, and then just copy and paste the.
Yeah, I mean, the advantage to Canva is you end up with lots. You end up with lots of things you have the rights to use in terms of images. And then I have access to them. Like I said, I can go back and find them. I could tweak them, which I've done. I've made a copy and said, oh, I need this to be a Google slide version size, so I can real quick copy and resize. So I am a huge fan of that. But then like I said, I have a Google Doc that has the image link and the description, so that if I need to share it with somebody else, I make sure I share that document too, so that we're trying to be as accessible as possible.
Nice.
Facebook
At the front.
Facebook itself is not super. I mean, it's got some work to do in terms of accessibility. So the places that we can kind of try to build in some more accessibility, we need to.
Nice. Very good. Sorry to hijack us on a picture and caption strategy, but I was just curious. That's cool.
No, I mean, that's all a part of the discussion. So we appreciate all the learnings from other book studies that people have done. And we know that there have been state projects and school district projects where people have focused on the QIAT indicators. So again, throwing out that question, what were the important learnings for you all that we need to make sure that we're including?
The only other thing that I would have to add is that if there are questions, maybe just choices of how to answer, right? Like, I think people just love choices in general. And I think some of us always fall back on typing in, but it would be neat if like someone has a video that they want to share of something that they've done or in action, or, has a graphic that they want to share that, so like just that clear, clear direction of like, you can share it in whatever way is best. I always like having those kind of options.
I like that idea. Like that kind of a collection of like artifacts other people have already made or have access to. I think that's awesome. I love stuff like that. I like being able to kind of pull from the larger community. Why make another video if somebody already made a video? Yeah, it's a great point. Love it.
The other thing that we want to be kind of clear about is that we're not trying to have the Blue Book study group take the place of the QIAT list. It's not something about replacing it. It's not about that things have to go on both. There's a lot, for those of you that are on the QIAT list, there's a lot of discussion about tools, about assistive technology products and tools and training and those kinds of things. But what we really want to make sure that the Blue Book study group is about services, and how things are going, and so that people can share, how you might be handling the, consideration, or how you're handling the assessment process, and really looking at that aspect of it, and still let the QIAT list live as a place where people talk about tools and resources and those types of things.
And
So I
Kel,
don't-
it gives it a nice opportunity to kind of feed into each other, because there's times when I see posts asking for the tool. What is the thing I need? And I want to ask that person, I don't know, like 400 questions about other stuff, never about a tool, but all the other stuff that leads up to it. And it's nice that these things can kind of feed into each other. Because not to say there isn't a space or a need for the, what's a tool that does this, but I think a lot of times we could have a deeper conversation about some of those posts if we talked about the service a little bit too, in addition to the tool search. Sorry, soapboxing just a little.
Group will be a good way to get newer folks involved in participating and looking into this too, because the email listserv can be overwhelming. It is to me. And I look at that and ask a question, and you see replies and hashtags and gobbledygook IP addresses that go on for 5 or 6 different scrolls down the page, just in the format that it comes in. And you have to kind of know what you're looking for sometimes to pull information out of it. So this, maybe is a friendly and approachable way to get newbies and those who are new to QIAT to dip their toe into it.
Yeah, I agree. Makes sense. I can't not watch Kelly's box because something crazy's happening there and I love it. It's awesome. Now, Kel, no, everybody stared at you because I am just fixated on where your box is on my screen right now, because it's fading out. It's turning into some weird psychedelic thing.
Yeah, I was going to say it's got some psychedelic video action.
Everything about it is fantastic. So
welcome to my computer since the update to Windows.
Awesome. Love it.
Kelly's screen looks absolutely normal. You guys are seeing very odd things. It's all about you, not Kelly's screen. Just keep that in mind.
Joe,
one of the things, yes.
Yeah, that's why I haven't said anything for 40 minutes, because I'm like, that's got to be me, right? That's got to be me.
One of the fun things about the QIAT list is when it started back in the early days as part of Joy Zabala's doctoral dissertation, is it was supposed to focus just on services, and it was about how do we develop these indicator things. And Brian Wojcik's doctoral dissertation has been on the evolution of the QIAT list from a discussion of indicators to a discussion of tools. So if you really want to do some fun nerd work, is find Brian's doctoral dissertation and learn more about the history and background of the QIAT list. Every now and again, I pull it out and read it because it's just fun.
Sounds like a supplemental book study is what I hear. That's what I hear when I hear that brought up. That's like a separate group or whatever we just called it on Facebook, whatever that term was.
Or another special event for your town hall, Mike.
I will just keep calling everything a special event. Don't worry. I will find so many special events. Yeah, Judy. Brian has been voluntold to share that with us now. He's not even here to accept the voluntold, and yet he's been already a part of it. That's
surprisingly, awesome. That's the way a lot of work gets done within the QIAT Leadership Team.
And every other team. So that's how things roll on AT Town Hall and AT Chat. And basically anything else you dip your toe in. Oh, that's great. What else you want to know from the group, Kel?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to prolong this. We can certainly go into a regular AT Town Hall discussion.
We can't do
but
that.
I mean, I think we've gotten a lot of good advice, and I think that our big thing is inviting people in. We're going to be also discussing this on AT Chat this week. So as you think about it, if you have other ideas, pop into AT Chat for that.
Please. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Join the fun.
And also at, let's see, at those of you that are going to be at ATIA, raise a hands. Ooh, okay. We've got a couple sessions. We have a session where we're digging into mentoring and coaching. And we have another session on IEP. So looking at that indicator on AT and the IEP and really discussing that and having people more of a discussion than us, again, telling you what that indicator is about. And then there's also going to be a poster session. So Joan, I'm going to also let you talk about things that are happening with the Joy Zabala Fellowship.
Thanks, Kelly. We are having a poster session focusing on the Joy Zabala Fellowship. As you hopefully know, we're in the middle of our very first year of pairing mentors and mentees. Alyssa is one of our mentors, as is Matt, and they are paired both with and there's a third mentor, Stacy Springer, who is working with a mentee. They're working for a 1-year period of time based on a work plan that they've developed. We're going to be highlighting their activities and information about the fellowship during a poster session at ATIA on Thursday afternoon. When the vendor hall opens on Wednesday evening, we're going to have a table in the registration area to tell people more about the Zabala Fellowship and your opportunities to apply for this coming year. And while we're at ATIA, you will be able to start your application process to either become a mentor or a mentee. A mentor, of course, is someone with a great deal of experience in assistive technology. A mentee is an emerging practitioner who is looking for ways to support their professional development with one-on-one mentoring and support. There's also support from the steering committee of the Zabala Fellowship. And so we're pretty excited to be entering into year 2. And we're very, very excited about the progress that our current mentoring teams, fellowship teams, have been making this year. So Matt or Alyssa, do you want to mention anything about just activities from the fellowship?
I think that it's probably a consensus between Matt, Stacy, and I that we will be walking around ATIA having conversations with people that we know would be excellent mentors. So please don't run away from us when we want to say hi to you. But no, it's been a really amazing experience to kind of walk alongside a practitioner who is in a different state, doing slightly different work, but just seeing her kind of grow in her confidence and her knowledge. It's been a fantastic experience, and I'm definitely looking forward to how she's going to be at ATIA as well. And so for that, just being able to kind of help craft what her experience could be like to support her work plan. So I'm excited. Matt?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I too will get to meet my mentee face to face for the first time. We spent a lot of time together virtually over the last year. It's going to be great to see her in person and give her a high five. I have a hand up on my screen. I'm giving you all a high five right now too. I'm not sure you're raising my hand here, but it has been really interesting to get to work with somebody from not just a different school division, but a different state, to learn about the differences that I know we all face in different states and localities across the country, but there's sort of a unifying underlying passion that folks that do this work have. And it's interesting that everybody seems to have that in common, regardless of whether you're in Virginia or Michigan or New Jersey or wherever it happens to be. So that has been something, and it's great to kindle that fire.
So we're going to encourage everyone to put in their application. Last year, we had a deep and rich pool of applicants from which to choose. You can apply if you already have identified a mentor or a mentee. You can apply as a team. Both of you will need to
You all know that's not me, right? That's Joan, right? Yeah, right.
I think she's going to say there's going to be a lot of information and ways to share and apply for this. And it is, I think Alyssa and Stacy, if she were here, would say the same thing. It's totally worth your time, worthwhile on either side of it, whether you have a mentor in mind or a mentee.
Or if you don't have anybody in mind, but you feel like you would make a good mentor, because that's kind of basically what happened with me, is then I got paired with somebody to build a work plan. So I think both sides of it are definitely worth the time and rewarding.
Nice.
So please don't let everybody run away from us at ATIA when we want to talk to you. Note
to self, run away. That's awesome. Very good. Other last thoughts about the book study or comments or conversation for the QIAT group? We do have a couple minutes if people want to talk about anything else. I know no one wants to leave early and collect time back from their day. That's crazy talk. But here, I will share, like, I have one thing. It's in the chat. One of our New Hampshire webinars is this week. They are open to anyone. We are doing new and innovative note-taking tools and strategies with Brian Friedlander. Half hour, Wednesday afternoon, 3 to 3:30 Eastern. You are all welcome to attend. Please join us. There is no way I tap out a Zoom room, so please feel free. There's plenty of space. We'd love to have you.
I do need to head out. I gotta go get lunch for a student, but I just want to thank everybody that's here. I know I lean on a lot of you for lots of information, and it just helps make my program better. So I appreciate everybody that's here and that shares information through listservs and everything else. Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca. That's nice. Thank you for being here and sharing too. Thank you. Have a good rest of the day. What? You say you like a special event? We'll come back next week. We're going back in. I can't find the happy sweet spot of my book, but you know my book is in front of me. There it is. Thanks, Carolyn.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Everyday instructional coaching. There it is. We're going back on track next week. I think it's chapters maybe 3, 4, and 5. Inquiry, discourse, and maybe reverberation.
It was 3 and 4, but we could do 3,
so
4.
I threw 5 in there, Mary.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but-
So 3 and 4.
We just need to reverberation for.
Just keep reverberating back. So we'll do that. That's next week. Hopefully people can join us. I know we're sneaking up right on ATIA time, but I think we can probably sneak that in before most people go there. So we'll do that. And then the following week, we'll do the next couple chapters. And we'll continue on. It's special event one week after another. Keep joining the fun here. With that said, if anybody has thoughts about things you'd like to cover in these town halls, I know we keep it loose on purpose most times, but I'm happy to work with anybody to organize something if you would like to work on a specific topic. And just asking for the topic does not automatically volunteer you for it. It strongly volunteers you for it, but it doesn't totally volunteer you for it. So keep that in mind. Murph, give me 1 second. I'll put the links in the chat. I saw your thing. I saw your note. Here you go. In the chat is the links to register for all of the upcoming. Oh, Naomi, you are so good at this. Does anyone not realize how great Naomi is? Everything I'm about to do, she swoops in and does it right before. Thank you, Naomi. Awesome. Yeah, so there you go. All the links are there. As we continue to make the links, we'll just keep dropping them on that page as we go.
And Mike, not about either one of these topics, but you also have another announcement of something that's happening in New Jersey that we need to get people to.
Oh my God, it's like we're just plug. Hold on, let me put that chat in there.
It's the 5-minute sales hour.
It is. I feel like that's exactly what it is. We are going to be excited to welcome Kelly Fonner to New Jersey to do an Intro to Pod 2-day training. And if you are anywhere close to New Jersey, what the heck are you waiting for? Get yourself here. Figure it out. It's at the end of March 30th and 31st. Central New Jersey, if that matters to you where it is in New Jersey, but Central New Jersey. We'll have Kelly there. It's going to be very exciting. So the details are all at that link that I dropped in the chat. The info about the course, the registration to sign up, and all that other fun stuff. If you can't get to New Jersey but know somebody who could, send them too. We'd love to have them. It's
a 14-hour road trip for me.
I was telling Diane last night, we were talking about that. I'm like, oh, Kelly's coming to New Jersey. I'm so excited. And Diane said, Diane's my wife, by the way. Diane said, oh, wait, when's she flying in? I go, she is driving in. And we had a long conversation about Kelly and what's really not quite connecting up here, but that's going to be fun.
It's a road trip.
Road trip. I like a good road trip. I'm all for it. So there you go. Road trip too. So if Kelly can do it, what's wrong with the rest of you? Get yourselves here and
join us. I can pick people up along the way. 5 states and make a right. I mean, that's
unfortunately
really
you're not on my way. I'm not on your way.
Right. Fair enough. The Bitly doesn't work.
I think maybe the capitalization is an issue. Maybe they
Wait a
need to
second.
be lowercase, like Naomi just
Naomi,
posted the second
Naomi,
one.
she's
Yeah.
she's like a silent assassin. She just drops it right back in there. Never turns her mic on, but boom, she drops those things back in there. Yes, that was it. Thank you, Naomi. That's it. It worked. All right, so I think that's all the plug-in I have. Kelly reminded us that AT Chat this week is going to be a continuation of this conversation. So if you'd like to join us there, please feel free. When we talk about this a little bit more. And anybody else have anything you'd like to share for the next couple minutes? Or I will let you go early. I'm not letting you go anywhere, by the way. You do what you want. You're grown-ups. You do what you want.
I'm also semi-retired, but I'm willing to take on a little work.
Oh, there you go. A plea for work. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Anybody's interested? Mary's looking for spots, looking for stuff. Thanks, Mary. Mary, are you now calling yourself Montana Mary? I'm seeing that in the chat. What is happening now? I love it.
And thanks, Tiffany, for pointing out that, yes, the blue quiet book is in Bookshare.
Yes. Oh, that's really good. Thank you. Perfect. Awesome. Any other last thoughts, or I will let people bug out?
I will
5 minutes.
say, I have put a request for everyday instructional coach to be in there, and it still hasn't done because it's not a textbook. So I'm on the very low end at the totem pole waiting.
That's a bummer. That's a bummer. So it is a great book, by the way. Not to rub it in, but it's a great book.
I've got the hard copy and I'm muddling through it and everything, but man, I love it when I can pair both of them.
Yeah.
And I can highlight and have my stickies. My translucent stickies are my best friend. I don't like solid stickies because then you can't see what you were highlighting. Those are my favorite things.
I love it. A couple of minutes at the end here, we're learning a lot about each other, and I love it. It's great.
One last announcement. We're reaching the point where the 10-day forecasts reach out to those of you who are coming to Orlando. And I'm happy to say that on Tuesday, it's about to be about 80 degrees. So just as a heads up, it's supposed to rain on Monday, but then on Tuesday, we're supposed to turn to semi-nice weather. I forget what the low is, but I think it's in the 60s. So yeah. 60s and 70s and 80s. I think y'all can handle that, unlike other ATIAs. So hopefully as the 10-day forecast draws out, the entirety of ATIA will stay that nice for y'all. I feel like I'm the Florida Tourism Board all of a sudden.
That was really nice. If you would have switched your background to a map and gone like this to it, that would have been amazing, by the way. But all right, next time. So there you go. The Tourism Board has spoken. Anything else? All right, everybody. Yeah, last year was cold and just kind of made rainy and gross, but yeah. All right, well, enjoy the rest of your day and have yourselves a great week. Hopefully we see you at AT Chat on Wednesday night. If not, come back and join us next Monday for our next special event. Members of the QIAT Leadership Group, thank you. Thank you for driving us through this time. See what I did there, Joan? Driving us through. You're welcome. That was a little bonus there.
Thanks for having
Well,
us.
thanks, Mike. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for
everybody.
joining.
Facebook.
Good to see y'all.
See ya.